a summer Friday in New York. Lots of traffic getting out of town, but no trouble taking the 7 train out to Queens. There's lots of baseball to be played on a gorgeous summer evening as the Mets get set to face their division rivals. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get your HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open a 3-game weekend series against the Phillies. Yesterday, the Mets clinched a series victory against the Rockies. The off-the-field headlines and the great performance of Johan Santana got most of the attention, but buried in all that was a very encouraging sign for the Mets' beleaguered offense. The best game so far this year for Carlos Beltran.
Well, one of the two big three in this ball club, Beltran and Wright. Beltran, since coming back from after the All-Star break, 24 games, hitting 185, had a 1-for-20 streak, 4-for-30 streak. Well, he went 3-for-3 yesterday with a sacrifice fly, and most importantly, hit the ball hard from both sides of the plate. You saw the 2 base hits from the left side and now from the right side. I think he's swinging the bat better from the right side than he is in the left. Now, Beltran said it's still a struggle, but those are promising signs. They need his bat.
Well, the Mets will hope that's a sign of things to come and hope he gets some company as well. Meanwhile, R.A. Dickey comes off his first really down start as a Met, and it came against the Phillies his last time out. He tries to bounce back tonight.
Yeah, he gave up a couple of home runs in that game to Worth and Ibanez, and really one of the toughest things was that he had got a couple of outs with his fastball early in the game. There really wasn't any differential between his fastball and that hard knuckleball. Jerry would like to see more slower knuckleballs to this really good Philadelphia Philly hitting team, and he's going to be going up against Cole Hamels, who has really had a tough go of it. 2 starts ago, did not walk a batter, struck out 10, got a no decision against Washington, and in his last start against the Mets, no walk, struck out 11 against the Mets in a loss. So he's at the top of his game, but a tough luck pitcher.
Probably the toughest luck pitcher in the National League since the All-Star break. So it's the Mets and Phillies for the first at 3. Dickey for the Mets, Hamels for the Phillies. All the action coming up tonight on SNY. of Brooklyn. Get to Citi Field Saturday, August 21st at 8 p.m. for Billy Joel, The Last Play at Shea movie premiere. Tickets are on sale now at 507tixx.com. Here's your Suzuki around the majors. Chipper Jones has decided to have surgery on his ACL. He'll be out for the year, but says he will try to return next year. CC Sabathia, 8 2/3, 10 hits last night as the Yankees beat the Royals 4-3. And the Blue Jays got 4 in the ninth, mostly off Jonathan Papelbon as they rallied to beat the Red Sox 6-5. Fred Lewis with the game-winning sacrifice fly keeps the Red Sox 6 games out in the AL East. Here at Citi Field, the Mets and Phillies renewing their rivalry after the Phils took 2 out of 3 at Citizens Bank last weekend. First pitch coming up. Seven runs down in the last 2 innings to beat the Dodgers. Quite a performance. Shane Victorino came off the DL yesterday. Pinch hit. Makes his first start coming back from an ab strain in the game tonight. Brian Schneider, a late replacement for Carlos Ruiz, who had the game-winning hit last night, but came up with a bit of a quad injury. Just another Philly injury. They've been able to overcome all of them so far this year.
Well, R.A. Dickey coming off that tough start against Philadelphia when he gave up a couple of home runs. But his 3 prior starts, he had gone 20 innings and only gave up 2 runs, trying to get back to that form tonight is R.A.
And Alexis Mets defense. You see Blanco, 6-start catching Dickey. Hessman over at first base gets a start. That's his 4th start at first base in the season. Call up Tejada, Reyes right, round out the infield. Pagan, Beltran, and Friend Bull in the outfield.
Very interesting the way Jerry Manuel put his lineup together today. He goes with an all right-hand hitting lineup in deference to Cole Hamels pitching for the Phillies, but he had been committed to Josh Tolley catching Dickey, and he goes against that. And he's sitting Ike Davis, who's actually hit lefties pretty well in favor of the journeyman Hessman.
Yeah, there was some different choices, to tell you the truth, but Hamels' numbers against left-handed hitters are startling low. The one I don't get, though, is Ike Davis. The reason given was that they want to keep Ike fresher. Fresher for me, for what? I mean, he was a young man who can play every day.
Well, let's put him on AstroTurf in St. Louis with just cutouts in around 96-degree weather all throughout July and August. I mean, oh, goodness, you're in your 20s, you can play. I'm sure Ike wants to play.
Well, go Mr. Hessman.
Jimmy Rollins leads things off for the Phillies. Rollins' season is now getting pointed in the right direction after what has been an injury-plagued and low performance season so far for Rollins by his standards. At .248 for the year. And Dickey ready to start the night. And gets the knuckleball in for a strike. What characterized the early portion of Dickey's game against the Phillies last Sunday was he threw a lot of fastballs to the first few hitters.
Well, he had been starting to get a little pattern with that. Started mixing in more fastballs, I noticed, Garrett. And it doesn't take long to get around the league with advanced scouts and all the video.
Swing and a miss by Rollins. So now you've got a Phillies team that really had a good approach against Dickey just 5 days ago. If you're a pitcher and you're coming back to face the same team again, how do you adjust?
Well, you watch a lot of film, of course. That's what these guys do now. But I'll tell you, the day before you had film, you knew exactly what the guys were trying to do to you. You knew that you didn't make your pitches, and you just know and have the confidence as a professional athlete that I'm going to make the pitches this time.
Mark Wiley, some advanced scouts right there.
Jim Beattie.
I agree with you, Ron. And basically, okay, they got on my fastball. Their approach was pretty obvious. They were going up the middle of the opposite field on him. And, again, another factor in this start for Dickey is he's not at Citizens Bank Park. He's at City, the much bigger park here.
A couple of home runs at Citizens Bank. Rollins tries to take him the other way. Reyes with a great diving stop. And Hessman with a stretch to get Rollins for a spectacular first down of the night.
Well, terrific play by Jose here. Beautiful backhand dive, and of course the strong arm. The agility to get up and throw a bullet over there to get the speedy Rollins. And again, we just talked about it. Phillies the same approach, going the other way.
So 1 out and nobody on, and now here's Placido Polanco. Just a point behind Carlos Gonzalez for the National League batting lead, hitting at .321. And he fouls off the knuckleball. And the other thing about Dickey in last Sunday's start, and Jerry Manuel mentioned this before the game tonight, that he saw a lot of the hard knuckleballs, not a lot of the soft ones that we've been seeing to the first two batters tonight.
Oh, good one there.
Also, the other thing is, Gary, is that if he's throwing more fastballs, and that's a good knuckleball here, he's throwing more fastballs. He's around 84, 85 with that fastball. Well, his knuckleball is 79. So the more fastballs he throws, it allows the other team to get closer to being on that hard knuckleball.
0-2 to Polanco, one of the toughest hitters to strike out in the league. I don't know if you throw that number out the window when you're facing a knuckleball. And a foul tip held by Blanco. Yeah, I guess you can throw it out the window. Dickey strikes out Polanco, 2 out.
I know it doesn't spin, but it has the action of a hard slider, doesn't it? It moves away from the right-handed hitter.
A little tumbler.
Dickey has been great in the first inning. 16 prior starts this year, only 3 runs allowed, and a 125 batting average against in the first inning this year. He's gotten the first 2 tonight. Here's Ibanez, who had an 18-game hitting streak come to an end last night in the Phillies' win over the Dodgers.
Well, what should help RA is Ed Rapuano is behind the plate tonight, and he tends to have a very large strike zone.
Very unusual that we're seeing Rapuano behind the plate for the second time on this homestand. He was with a different crew in the last series and had the plate in the game on Tuesday against the Rockies.
Good guy, good umpire.
Tom Howie and the crew chief on this unit with Ron Culpa and Lance Barksdale. Here's the 0-2 to Ibanez, and he hits one down the right field line. sinking toward the stands and out of play.
Still, it's a good first inning for R.A. Dickey, but the results aren't there. One hard hit ground ball. But of all the teams, Gary, that have faced Dickey, this is the one team now that puts up good at-bats against him for whatever their reason, whatever their approach. They take good swings. They got the proper approach to a knuckleballer.
Dickey faced the Phillies here in his second start as a Met and had a terrific start against them. 6 shutout innings.
You know, whenever I watch the Phillies play, especially the last 4 seasons, they're a confident, merging on cocky club, and I think they take it as a challenge. You present them with something, they can't wait to take that down.
Bandejas hit one of the 2 home runs against Dickey on Sunday, hit it well over the center field fence.
I think that would have been a home run even here, at least off the wall. But I don't think Jason Wart's home run would have been a home run here at this ballpark.
Wouldn't have been quite as jarring for Carlos Beltran either.
That's right.
1-2 from Dickey. Struck him out. So Dickey with back-to-back strikeouts to finish the opening inning as he gets the Phillies 1-2-3. That was the hard knuckleball. The bottom of the first. Jose has led off 3 of the last 4 games with base hits and has scored in the first inning each time driven in by Angel Pagan. Reyes now up to 66 runs scored for the season. And a foul tip, and it's 0-2. Here's your Geico starting lineup for the Mets tonight. We alluded to it earlier. 8, we'll make it 9 with Dickey, right-handed bats in the lineup against Cole Hamels. Carlos Beltran coming off his best game of the season. Mike Hessman getting another start, and Jeff Francoeur, who homered for the only run against Hamels in the game the Mets beat him last Saturday. Reyes pops one up in foul ground. Schneider coming back, and right in the on-deck circle to grab it. That's a dangerous spot with all those lead bats and pine tar rags and everything else sitting there.
Well, Hamel will have that amazing 2008 season when he was the MVP of the World Series. He had a down year last year. His velocity was down. His velocity is back up now. And he's the first Phillies pitcher since Curt Schilling in 1996 to have 10 or more strikeouts and no walks in his last 2 starts. He hasn't won in 5 starts, but the Phillies have only scored 8 runs.
In those 5 starts since the All-Star break, his earned run average is 2.38, and yet he's 0-1.
The loss coming to the Mets 1-0 last Saturday. There's a fastball strike to Angel Pagan. Angel 8th in the National League right now with that .306 batting average. And the changeup away, 1-1.
Well, Hamels has developed a cutter, and that has made a big difference. Remember last year, Ronnie had that slow curveball, and it was just a big breaker. The cutter now makes it more effective to keep the right-hand hitters honest, and then opens up that outside corner for the changeup.
Well, he always had trouble getting the ball inside on the right-handers. Now he just cuts it in there and he has more confidence.
That curveball, he's almost scrapped in 7 innings. We might have seen it 2 or 3 times in the game last weekend.
He can use it a lot like Nice uses it on the outside corner to right-hand hitters.
Pagan dribbles one slowly, foul.
And the Coors Light Phillies defense, Jimmy Rollins, well, he can pick it, you know that. And Mike Sweeney over at first base just acquired. This is his 7th game, 4th start at first base. All of his starts have been at first base.
Ross Gload is laid up right now with a bit of a groin injury, although he's not placed on the disabled list, so that leaves Sweeney alone at first base. Ground ball toward the hole. Rollins on the backhand. A tough play against Pagan's speed, and Angel beats it out. So the Mets have their first base runner, an infield single for Pagan.
Oh, once that ball got past Polanco, tough chance to throw out the speedy Pagan. Got jammed a little bit with that cutter.
Isn't it the case when you're a guy having a great year, his best year ever, it seems like every game you get a knock in that first at bat.
Also helps when you run everything out hard. There you go. Many more hits that way too. Here's David Wright trying to find himself out of a dreadful batting slump. 0 for his last 13, 2 for his last 33, and in his last game, day before yesterday, 4 at-bats, 4 strikeouts.
Well, since the All-Star break, he's practically just been invisible. In 92 at-bats, 196, no extra base hits since July 31st. It's been tough on Dave. Very puzzling with the 4 strikeouts for the left-hand pitcher.
Especially a guy like Jeff Francis, who he had owned in the past. Hamels falls behind 2-0.
That made 10 strikeouts in his last 15 official at bats. So, you know, that is alarming. Those are some of the numbers that he was putting up in April.
Well, he's 2 for his last 33. I guess the encouraging part is one of the 2 hits came against Cole Hamels last Saturday. And now Hamels behind him. And David takes a strike. It has been the case this year that when David has had a day off, he's generally come back strong the day after. I don't know whether that's, you know, combating fatigue, getting his mind clear, or just coincidence.
Almost walk there.
Yeah, he doesn't step at all.
He did not step over. Wow.
Mets will likely try to do some running tonight. Brian Schneider is behind the plate tonight. Has had big time problems throwing people out. That step or lack of it.
You know what makes it look worse is that he's almost on his heels. He's not walking towards first when he throws.
Pagan runs. David takes outside. Schneider's throw hits the runner, bounds to the left. Pagan didn't realize quickly enough where it was, and so he'll have to stay at second base. Number 27 for Pagan, and a dreadful throw by Schneider.
Good strike on the outside corner. Well, Schneider does not throw the way he used to throw. Angel kicked that little kick save there.
Oh, right off the outside of the left knee.
It wasn't a kick save, it was off the knee.
I think with Schneider, he always had perfect mechanics throwing down to second base, but he's really dropped his arm angle, and I wonder if it's for pain or, you know, maybe just doesn't have the same bullets in that arm anymore.
Hamels has to be aware that Pagan might well try to steal third. 2-2 to right, and there he goes. Pitch inside, no throw by Schneider. Pagan has stolen third base. So 28 stolen bases for Angel.
Got to pay attention. That's just a big jump. Not a big lead, but just not paying attention.
Well, you hate to give fault, but Wilson Valdez, second base, did not give a good enough fake to Angel to get him back to that base.
So Now a full count to right, infield back, conceding a run on a ground ball. And David puts it in play. Polanco behind the bag, and Pagan holds as Wright is thrown out for the second out. I'm a little surprised there. Pagan didn't go on contact, and he's talking about it with Chip Hale.
Well, the contact play here, they're playing back, would have been a tough throw for Polanco. He's right in the line. Don't know if, obviously, it wasn't a contact play.
Well, my feeling is the way the Mets are hitting and the lack of production, that has to be a contact play right now 99% of the time.
He's got to get the speed of Pagan.
You got to start taking chances.
Yeah, exactly.
There's Beltran taking a strike. Carlos 3 for 3 yesterday with a sacrifice fly and hoping to parlay that into better times.
And I assure you right now, Polanco would not have thrown that ball home. He would have taken the out at first base.
I've got a feeling, after watching Pagan and Hale talk and looking at the expression on Jerry's face, I think Pagan must have missed a sign.
It's not usually even a sign on that. The third base coach will go right over to you and say, hey, on contact, buddy, let's go. Be ready.
It should always be a verbal command.
Beltran hits one to center field, playable for Victorino as he retreats. And that retires the side. So Pagan steals a couple, but the Mets can't get him home. No score after one. Manhattan off the FDR drive at 117th Street. Go to mybobs.com for details. You ever been to Bob's?
I have not. I have
never
not.
go furniture shopping and you have kids. You got to go there. They have free candy for the kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. Mike Sweeney leads off in the second inning. And he takes a knuckleball for a strike.
Now, I know the sign has the caricature of Bob. I mean,
there's really a Bob.
Does he really look like that?
Well, it's a caricature.
He looks better in a Met uniform.
Sweeney 5 for 15 since joining the Phillies, hitting .272 overall, 6 homers, 19 RBIs.
Well, I noticed today in batting practice that Ryan Howard was out taking ground balls and looked pretty good on that ankle. He was moving around real well.
He's eligible to come off the disabled list, I think, Tuesday. And he may well be ready then. Lines caught. Reyes making a living out of diving to his right early in this game. 1 out.
Well, both balls to his right. This is a bullet, and again, similar play, but this was just a liner. Very nice.
You know what's interesting about the setting of the defense when Dickey is playing? He sets the defense and usually has his infielders on that side play to pull.
think he may get Reyes a couple more steps over now. Here's Jason Worth, who's been tearing it up lately. Worth over the last 23 games is hitting .405. He's now 9th in the National League with a .304 batting average. Leading the league in doubles. 4th in the league in on-base percentage. You know, there are only 3 players in the National League among qualifiers who have on-base percentages over 400. We have 3. Wow. Worth is 4th in the league at .397.
Boy, oh boy, the free agent at the end of the year. There's talk of they may let him go. And have the money they paid Ryan Howard. They got Dominic Brown, the young, good-looking rookie outfielder, left-hand hitter for the Phillies, that's looking for an opportunity to play. It'd be very interesting to see which way the Phillies go on this. There's Dominic. He looks, I like his stroke.
Well, he'll be in their outfield next year. I don't think there's much question. But with Ibanez under contract for another year, it may come down to whether they choose to keep Worth or Victorino.
Right, that's true.
2-2 from Dickey. Line caught by Hessman. Dickey living right. 2 out.
Well, 2 line drives in this inning right at. I mean, you know, Gary also got to factor in, and again, the Phillies going the other way. The money they gave Halladay. So, you know, they put some money out there. They got a pretty big payroll.
Well, either way for Worth, it'll be ka-ching at the end of the year. But the thing is for the Phillies, they have to decide, can Worth play center field every day? Because that's where they'll have to play if they keep him and let Victorino go.
Because with Polanco now, Victorino hitting second, Victorino doesn't really fit into that lineup anymore all of a sudden. He needs to be in the top of the lineup.
Well, he's got 15 home runs this year. Takes a strike, and it's 1-1. First start for Victorino coming off the disabled list. Did not play against the Mets last weekend. Not having a big year for average, and his on-base percentage only .312, which makes it tough to play him at the top of the order.
So, you know, he has the same kind of numbers as like Davis, which is very strange to see a smaller man like Victorino, but he plays in a smaller park.
Well, that's the thing also. If you're a team looking to acquire either a Victorino or a Worth, you look at what Aaron Rowan did in Philadelphia and what he's done since he left, and you have to be a little bit wary, especially about the power numbers. 3-1 from Dickey, and Victorino bounces one slowly down to Hessman. He'll take it himself. Side retired. 6 up and 6 down for R.A. Dickey, despite some hard hit balls. Middle of the second, no score. Hessman making his 6th start for the Mets, just 3 for 22 and hitless in his last 9 at bats. Getting the start against the left-hander tonight. See, the Mets are wearing their Los Mets uniforms tonight. It is Fiesta Latina. With a concert following the game tonight.
Oh, really? So there'll be a lot of people hanging around.
There'll be smoke behind you.
It'll be very festiva.
I'll be very much looking in my rearview window mirror as I drive out of the ballpark as fast as I can.
You're invited to stay, you know.
Even with a name like Hernandez.
That's the one thing about it, right, guys? Announcers never see fiestas or fireworks.
Hey,
It's good company you're keeping.
see, I'm at the mound again telling him. Throw over.
Now, come on. It didn't matter how many times he threw over. He couldn't hold people on anyway.
He couldn't.
But there were only people on once in a while
I
those first few
understand.
years.
He actually got he really improved on his move. He got a quicker move. Ronnie had the best move. Ronnie and Joaquin Andujar had the 2 best right-handed moves, and John Denny of my career.
Denny had kind of like a Bach move, didn't he?
Yep. He had a good quick one. Andujar was quick.
Struck him out. Hamels has his first of the night as he gets Hessman 1 away.
Backdoor slider.
Cole Hamels 2 starts ago against Washington struck out 10, walked none. Last start against the Mets struck out 11, walked none. In modern Major League history since 1900, there have been only 2 pitchers, Hamels and James Shields of Tampa Bay in 07, to have 2 starts in a row where they struck out at least 10, didn't walk anybody, and didn't win either game. So, now that's some bad luck.
Such to happen to Big Game James.
Is he really?
It's kind of self-proclaimed.
Jeff Francoeur, who homered against Hamels in the game last Saturday for the game's only run. Another tough chance for Rollins, and a nice pick at first base by Sweeney. Who said he can't play first? 2 out.
Well, from the outfield grass, Rollins, you probably should have given him more of a long hop. It's a tough pick. It's a nice pick. A very graceful follow through there when he falls down, but got the job done. That's a tough chance right there.
If I see that play, though, it always, to me, seems like the first baseman's foot comes off the bag when they do that stretch.
It's an illusion.
It is?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I mean, are you trying to push off the side of the bag when you make that kind of a play?
You can keep your feet on the side of the cliff of the bag, I guess you want to call it, for lack of a better word.
Blanco drives one deep left center, and Victorino back in the gap. Yeah, he's healthy. 1-2-3 inning. As Victorino goes a long way to track down Blanco's drive and keep it scoreless. 66 WFAN. 2 more with the Phillies, then it's off to Houston and Pittsburgh next week, as the former Met Brian Schneider leads off in the 3rd. Schneider making his 28th start this year and doing about the same offensively as he did for the Mets the last couple of seasons.
Houston's played a little better since the trade of Oswalt. Sometimes, and Berkman, sometimes those trades that are on the mind of everyone all season long can be really draining on a team. And then when the guys are gone, they can just relax and play.
Well, how about Baltimore on the show ball? My goodness.
8-2 after losing last night.
They're up 3-0 early over Tampa Bay.
Also early tonight, the Cincinnati Reds got 3 off Josh Johnson in the 1st inning. See that very often.
Johnson's had a little speed bump, hasn't he, in the last 3 starts?
Still don't think you want to face him.
No, absolutely not.
Schneider hits one down the right field side. Foul.
Did you get Johnson-itis now?
I wouldn't get Johnson-itis. Maybe Johnny Cueto kicked him before the game.
Cueto got 7 games.
Wow, he sure did.
The managers got 2 each and then some cash fines around.
Johnson still leads the National League in ERA, but only barely over Adam Wainwright. And after giving up 3 runs in the 1st, that might already be gone. Wainwright has, I think, pushed himself into the lead among all the great pitchers in the league this year. We've seen Valdo Jimenez and Carpenter and Johnson and Lincecum is obviously out of the running for a 3rd straight unless he has an incredible finish.
Well, you know what's great about it is that there's going to be a half dozen pitchers. Whoever has the best September is going to get it.
I know a lot of people thought Wainwright should have won last year, and it looks like this is his year.
We'll see. There's still a lot of game left. How many more starts do he has left? There's, what, 48 games left?
Yeah.
So
8, 9 maybe.
3-2 to Schneider. And he pounds one into the ground.
Listen, if they're in a race, it could be 10 or so, pitching every 3rd day.
Well, they might roll him out in relief between starts. He's done that before, by the way.
Yeah, he's pretty good at that.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat from Dickey to Schneider. And he pops it up. Shallow left center. And Pregame puts it away. There's a lot of dirt on the uniform for the 3rd inning. 7 up and 7 down for R.A. Dickey. His first fly ball out. And now another guy who played for the Mets last year, Wilson Valdez.
Kind of been an unsung hero here. He had to fill in for the injured Polanco. He filled in for obviously the injured Rollins. Charlie Emanuel told me that he just really picked it up, got some key hits, and we all know he can pick it. He said he played great shortstop and second base for him.
He's gone right around that infield, hasn't he?
Fastball, one of the few that Dickey's thrown early in the game, 1-1.
254 for Valdez coming into this game. That's a plus. And boy, he holds his hands high over the top of his head, but he brings them down.
Talk about Valdez filling in. When you have a year like the Phillies have had, 15 different players on the disabled list, you need a Wilson Valdez to at least hold a spot for you, which he's been able to do for Utley, for Rollins, and for Polanco.
Well, think about it. They have gone 16-4 in their last 20 games without Howard or Utley. So they've started to make their push already for the National League East to wait till they get those 2 additions back.
Well, they're 2 games behind the Braves starting play tonight, and the Braves will now go the rest of the way without Chipper Jones. And both from a physical standpoint in terms of not having him in the lineup, but also the emotional standpoint of knowing that he's not coming back this year, you wonder about the short-term effect on the Braves the next couple of weeks. And that just missed ball 4, and Valdez is on with a 1-out walk. First base runner of the night for the Phillies.
There's Ryan Howard. And you got to wonder, if this Philly team wins the division, gets in the playoffs, Charlie Manuel with this team with all the injuries you speak of here, and there's just a few of them.
that's a multitude of them, if you ask me. Critical, key injuries. To keep this club together and play the way they play, Charlie Manuel's got to be strong consideration for manager of the year.
Well, he and your buddy down in San Diego, Buddy Black.
That's true.
I want to throw Dusty Baker into that mix.
You're right.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Mr. Cox down in Atlanta.
Maybe a send-off gift. Hamels poking at it and fouls it off. Hamels with 3 sacrifices this year to go with 7 hits. Harley Dickey making his 17th start, but only his 6th at Citi Field. 11 of his first 16 starts have been on the road. So he hasn't had a chance to commune with the fans here in his home ballpark. Pops up the bunt, and Dickey picks it off. 2 outs. Tomorrow at noon, get a behind-the-scenes look at Darryl Strawberry's new restaurant in Queens. Plus, find out how Mookie Wilson is giving back to the community on Mets Weekly, presented by Flat Rate Moving, tomorrow at noon, only on SNY. Well, there you see, when he has had a chance to pitch at home, he's done awfully well here. In fact, in 3 of his 5 home starts, he's been involved in shutouts. The Mets already have 14 home shutouts this year. And in the 2 years that Citi Field has been open, there have been 23 shutout victories for the Mets. 23. Now, the Mets moved into Shea Stadium in 1964. It took them until 1969 to have 23 home shutout wins. So the 7th season of the ballpark.
They were helped, though.
6th season of the ballpark.
68, they had a strong year, of course. With shutouts.
69 wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
Owen Wonder-Rollins. Well, the 17 overall shutouts that the Mets have this season is the most that they've had in any year since 1988, which was a pretty good pitching year for the Mets as well.
Conehead, Mr. Darling, Sid, Doc,
Vita,
Fabio
Aguilera.
Sorry, Bob.
Popped up. David Wright coming down from third. And the side retired. So Dickey off to a much better start than he was last week in Philly. At 7:10 p.m. Get the best seats direct from the Mets at Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. Want to correct something I said earlier. It is Fiesta Latina. There's a mariachi band roaming through the stands. There was a pregame concert by Sergio Valdez, but there is not a postgame concert tonight at Citi Field. So if anybody was in the area and thinking going to come to the postgame concert, don't. There may be some, some lone security guard humming a tune, but that's all you're going to get. Ruben Tejada leading off the home third. Still looking for his first hit since being recalled. 0 for 14 in the 4 games since coming back from Buffalo.
Keith, this game has had a lot of infielders who have the talent of Tejada, who really couldn't hit a lot their first 2-3 years, and then developed. I always think of Omar Vizquel, who's had a Hall of Fame career, I think. But in the beginning of his career, you could knock the bat out of his hands.
How about Ozzie Smith?
Ozzie Smith.
And Jose Bendo. That's what I think of a lot as far as former Met.
Yeah.
Well, Bendo, like Tejada, came up at a very young age.
Right. But one of the things is that with Oquendo, they went to switch hitting, I believe, right?
Down the right field line, slicing, and it just goes foul. Almost out the street door.
Jose was strictly a right-handed hitter when I played with him in the minor leagues. He was a 19-year-old shortstop.
You can go back as far as Larry Boa. I mean, the 2 hitters of my time, my generation, that improved themselves the most and became very, very good major league hitters. Hit 300 was Larry Boa came up a 220 hitter, and Ozzie Smith was a 22-30 hitter, and they both made themselves into good hitters, and they were ironically both switch hitters.
And the question is, in this era of baseball, when we become more accustomed to middle infielders who can, hit home runs, as Tejada gets tied up and he went around for a 3rd strike, will a major league team have the patience to stay with a young middle infielder as we look at that half swing with strike 3? Will they have the patience to stay with a guy like that who is a slick fielder and give him a chance to learn how to become a better hitter?
Well, they've got options, Gary. They might go down. Options are so critical when you're a young kid. You want to get rid of those options, but when it comes to a numbers game and you're struggling, I think if you're struggling with the bat, you're going to get sent down.
The key for Tejada moving forward is that, one, you've got to have the guys in the lineup that are supposed to hit the way they can. That way you don't have to rely on him to hit 260 or 270. And then the other thing is that if the lineup is strong, it won't hurt his confidence if he's not hitting, because he knows he can help the team in so many other ways.
0-2 to R.A. Dickey, who has 5 hits this year. He gets tied up, but no swing. Hamels coming inside to those right-hand hitters.
He has found a new pitch, that little cutter, and he loves to pound. It's like Al Leiter wants to pound that little cutter on the hands of right-handers.
Looks like he throws his cutter a little harder than John Neese. Backer, and Hamels handles it fine. 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Guys, I asked Charlie Manuel today to give me the single biggest difference from Cole Hamels last year to this year. And he gave me an entire laundry list. He said, well, conditioning. Mentally, he's more focused than last year, and he's stronger, and I'll tell you why. Because his fastball is there late in games, and last year it wasn't. Last year, fastball late in games would dip down to 87 at times, anywhere between 87 and 91. But now late in games, you're talking 91 to 94. It's an enormous difference, guys.
Reyes takes that fastball outside. Hamels still getting better. He's 26 years old. Already has 55 major league wins. 2-0 to Reyes, who fouled out to the catcher his first time up.
Threw this right by Reyes. When you think about it, in 2008, Hamels threw 260 plus innings that year, if you include the postseason and World Series. And I think, you know, after coming off a year where he threw 183, that big jump, I think he just spent much of 2009 with a kind of tired arm. He also had a couple of injuries in spring training, his ankle. He also was hit with a ball in his pitching arm. All those things contributed to a poor year last year.
Out to right field, and Jason Worth right there. And so Hamels throws a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the third. On to the fourth we go. Dickey and Hamels match at 0. Fourth inning, Placido Polanco leads off against R.A. Dickey. Polanco struck out his first time up and takes a very slow knuckleball for a strike. Dickey really has dialed back on that floater tonight.
I like that, you know, just changing speeds. Even if you're a knuckleball pitcher, you have to do that.
He probably does it more starkly than any knuckleballer I've ever seen.
Because usually most knuckleballers, if you think of Tim Wakefield now, you think of the Negros, well, really Phil, he really just threw those butterflies, the same kind of pitch every single time.
Charlie Hoff.
And really, however the pitch went, is what kind of day they were going to have.
Dickey's ahead on Polanco 0-2. It'll be Polanco, then Ibanez and Sweeney for the Phillies in the fourth. And he weaves at that pitch off the plate. Harder knuckleball from Dickey. Polanco, the second toughest hitter to strike out in the National League, has fanned twice tonight.
Well, the knuckleball is a complete reshuffling of the deck. It doesn't count in those statistics. It just doesn't count.
Is that true?
I wish it weren't true.
In your mind, it doesn't count. I got you.
It's a different breed of cat.
Now Ibanez, who struck out his first time up, and he takes a very slow one high. So he had the knuckleball there at 68, and he's thrown one as hard as 81 tonight. That's an incredible spread for one pitch. 2-0 to Ibanez.
And we've talked about RA. What makes him so unusual for knuckleball is he doesn't walk people. He throws strikes.
He's averaged 2.6 walks per 9 innings. Ibanez pops one up, and Blanco has plenty of room to play it. 2 out. So Dickey, who lasted just 3 innings on Sunday against the Phillies, gave up 6 runs and 8 hits in that game. Now 2 out of the 4th, and he's given up, well, nothing. 1 walk and 3 strikeouts for Dickey. Here's Sweeney, who lined one to short. Reyes made one of his 2 diving catches in this game. And this one grounded to David Wright deep behind the bag. And a long throw on target to get Sweeney. And Dickey keeps on sailing along. Middle of the 4th. No score. Home 4th inning, Angel Pagan has the only hit for either team in this game. He had a ground ball to deep short and beat Jimmy Rollins' throw to first base. Subsequently stole 2nd and 3rd, but was stranded. And that is the only hit. Cole Hamels has retired 8 in a row since. Driven to center field, and Victorino easing back to grab it. Far away.
Well, that's the one thing that Victorino brings back to this ball club is a solid center field defense.
Let's check out our AT&T trivia question for tonight. The top 100 strikeout leaders of all time, which 7 are currently active?
Top 100.
Top 100 strikeout pitchers of all time, 7 are still active. David Wright grounded out to third base his first time up. And he lines one off Hamels. He pounces on it and makes the play. Now the question is, how is Hamels? As he took that shot from David Wright, gets the out, and now tries to walk it off.
I'll tell you, after being hit by those, you don't feel any pain until after you make the play, and as soon as you make the play, it's just shooting pain immediately.
He's hurting. He's hurting.
Don't rub it.
Can you tell where it got him?
No.
It got him in the leg somewhere.
It's a bullet.
Got him in the thigh.
Yeah, almost like the inside of the thigh.
That might be worthy of a course light freeze cam or whatever. Oh, might have got him in the knee. Oh, the inner thigh.
Yeah.
The inner thigh.
That's a Wally Whitehurst ball. There you go. Laser beam off your leg.
It's a very sensitive area.
The trainer seems satisfied. Now does Hamels.
He's going to have a big bruise tomorrow, that's for sure.
And he sends them on their merry way.
And the caveat to that is David Wright's struggle continue after hitting a bullet. That's how it goes when you're struggling.
Well, that's the hardest hit ball he's had in a while. So that's a good thing. Not necessarily Cole Hamels or for David Wright, but for the long-term prospects for David. So now Beltran bats with 2 out and nobody on. See how Hamels responds after taking that whack. And Beltran takes ball 1. Carlos flied out to center his first time up. And a good changeup by Hamels, 1-1. Beltran with 2 career home runs against Cole Hamels. Carlos's only home run this year came as a right-hand batter. 1 home run and 85 at bats. And a foul tip. Schneider holds it. Strike 3. Third strikeout for Hamels, who's now retired 11 Mets in a row. We've got a real pitcher's duel developing here. No score after 4. A pregame live Monday at 7:30 p.m. only on SNY.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
You along for that trip, Keith?
I'm on the whole trip.
Houston and Pittsburgh.
I got all the rest of the road games of the season. All 3 roadies, baby.
I mean, no more flights for you?
No, late in the season, we put a clamp down on that.
Jason Worth leading off the 5th inning against R.A. Dickey. Worth at a hard line drive that Mike Hessman caught his first time up. Dickey retired the first 7 batters, then walked Wilson Valdez, and has retired 5 in a row after that. There's a strike. Fastball from Dickey, 2-1.
never done a game in Houston. Now, I know you got what? You got the Towels Hill. You got the train. What's that train do? For a home run or something?
Those are pumpkins, not oranges in there.
No, they're oranges. It's Minute Maid Park. They make orange juice.
That's big oranges.
3-2 now to win.
It's a nice ballpark. I mean, I'd like getting to the ballpark. There's a lot of traffic. You leave late, you get stuck in that traffic, you're in trouble.
It's a nice ballpark when the roof is open, but we're never there when the roof is open.
Well, you certainly won't. The roof won't be open in those 4 days.
95 degrees every day. Strike 3 call. With Bunny at ball 4, and Rapuano says no. That's the 4th strikeout for R.A. Dickey.
But it definitely was a strike, and it was a 3-2 fastball, Keith.
And it tripped Worth. Right there, good spots. It's going to fool a lot of hitters.
So 2 fastballs in that at bat on 2-0 and on 3-2. So 1 out. Here's Shane Victorino, and he takes the knuckler first strike. Victorino grounded out to Hessman his first time up. If you're wondering, that's a thumb guard, not an eraser or chewing gum.
I wish they had them those thumb guards when I played, because if I'd have blue jammed me so bad in Candlestick Park 1 year that it dislodged my nerve in my left thumb.
It just never healed?
Remember I wore that that makeshift one?
Yep.
BT? If I'd have had the thumb guard, it would have been a lot more. I saved it on 4. They came in late in my career, so I had 4.
The late Bill Robinson, our hitting instructor, used to call that the Hanya pad. He said, what do you call that for? He said, when you get jammed, that's the sound you make.
1-2 to Victorino. He struck him out. Dickey with back-to-back strikeouts to start the 5th.
Well, it's another one of those knuckleballs that doesn't really knuckle a lot. That's a lot more spin than the normal one, so it stays truer.
This is the official online shop of the Mets at Mets.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Mets.com shop. Accept no substitutes. Brian Schneider flied out to left his first time. Dickey has struck out 5. He's walked 1. He's yet to allow a hit. Little dribbler. And Dickey comes off the mound. 5 hitless innings for R.A. Dickey. We're halfway through at Citi Field. What a pitching exhibition this has been. Just a click away on SNY.TV with special features, scouting reports, and exclusive interviews on the baseball show presented by Harrah's every afternoon only on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports.
Oh, you're fired.
He's not working. How can you fire him?
He's got that same expression on his face, though, that he uses when he's ready to fire people. Mike Hessman leads off in the home fifth inning. Struck out his first time up.
And it's hit in the air to deep left field. Back goes Ibanez onto the warning track. Right at the wall. Leaping and he can't get it. Hessman on his way to second. He turns and heads for third and they're calling it a home run. It's a home run for Mike Hessman. The third base umpire, Lance Barksdale, ran out there to take a look. And Mike Hessman has his second home run of the season, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
Ibanez thought that was obstruction by one of the fans. He's saying that he thought he could have made the play. That's what he's arguing. So Charlie's going to go to the umpires and have them take another look.
I do not think that was a home run, do you?
I thought it hit high off the wall.
That's what I thought, too. So Hessman has a home run for the moment, and the Mets have a lead, but that might change.
Well, they're going to go have a look at it, that's for sure.
So.
They have to.
Not sure what Barksdale thought he saw, and I don't think that Ibanez had a play on it. I think that ball should have simply been in play, but we'll take a look.
I will say, though, immediate reaction from Ibanez, which is unusual because, you could see him maybe after the fact.
Change up, out over the middle.
There you go.
Oh, it's gone.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's a rail.
The orange line?
I thought it hit the rail.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chief.
I thought it hit the rail.
He's saying the fan reached over the rail and touched it, but of course the railing is well above the orange line. It only has to clear the orange line to be a home run, not go over the railing.
It's also back just enough to try to keep the fans from reaching over into play.
Here we go. Let's get a little better look at it. Here's the Coors Light freeze cam. Fan reaches over.
No, it's out.
Yeah, it hit right there. It hit the metal, so it's definitely a home run.
It's easy because the fan has bad hands, so we really get the good look there.
Also, he wasn't far enough. His hands weren't far enough down to go over the orange line. I think that what might have confused Ibanez is that the ground rule at Citizens Bank Park, I believe, is that it has to go over the railing.
Yes. But
here, it only has to go over the orange line, which is well below the railing. So they'll check it out. The three umpires have headed off to have a look. It looks like Hessman will keep his home run, and the Mets will retain their lead. But we'll wait for the official ruling.
Why does one
hangs out of the field?
Why does one runner hang on the?
That's the rule.
Umpire.
That's the rule.
We want someone to be in charge,
keep order. What if a fight breaks out?
Well, yeah, exactly. Hamels was hurt with that seventh inning home run over there at Citizens Bank Park by Frank Gore. It could have been the same here in the fifth inning for Hessman.
Well, Mike Hessman hoping that his 15th career Major League home run stands up after 329 minor league home runs. But certainly if the umpires see it the way we saw it, it will indeed be a home run. Both Manuels out on the field.
It was interesting. When this rule first came into effect, there would be a play under review. We'd all be excited what's going to happen, and now it's very nondescript. Usually you know exactly how they're going to call it. You can't dispute and call this back after watching this ball missed by the fan and hit the railing.
Anything above the orange line is a home run. Certainly appears as though it hit one of the pieces of metal on that little rail there.
It was hit so high that usually if you have one that isn't hit that high, it hit the railing and bounce way back into play. But this one kind of scraped off the wall on the way down, which is a very unusual carom.
The three umpires are taking a little longer than you might expect. So you never know how they might see it.
Catch them all.
Either way, it's only the second hit in this game. Both have been against Cole Hamels.
way Cole Hamels has been going, like Ronnie said, the top, no run support. This could hold with the way R.A. Dickey's throwing.
I'll just go back to Saturday. He hooked up against Johan Santana and lost the game 1-0.
You got another Med shutout.
Not to get too far ahead of myself.
I'm sorry, I got so excited.
12 more outs to get. Could be even more than that. You never know.
We had a Keith Hernandez special yesterday, you know, buddy. What was that? 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Oh, sweetness.
Right now, this review appears like it's taken 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Come on, guys. Ball's out of here.
The umpires are up the tunnel in a small room where they're having videos fed to them from the War Room in Manhattan, which has the feeds both provided by SNY and by the Phillies television. So there might be an angle that Phillies TV is showing that we haven't, but from what we've seen so far, Hessman should feel good about things.
It reminds me of the great line in Dr. Strangelove. Peter Sellers is the president. Goes, "You can't fight in the War Room."
Van reaches out, the ball, misses the ball. The ball apparently hits the railing and comes back on the field. At least that's how we see it.
Yeah, hit right there. Hit right around kneecap high. That young man.
You want to illustrate that, Keith?
Sure.
They can show it one more time.
They can freeze it.
Oh, yeah, freeze it. Circle spotlighted, Keith. Oh, gosh.
You know how to do that? Try the spot shot.
See it hit right. There you see. Oh, there it is. That hits right there.
Perfect. Well done. That's like art.
What is the problem there?
They may be having a problem with their transmission. I guess that's a possibility.
There's too many Chiefs down there, not enough Indians.
We have never seen a replay last this long. So Emmanuel hoping for an overturn.
Charlie saying to himself, well, I'm either going to be remaining in this game or getting thrown out.
Well, the rule is that once the umpires make their ruling, you cannot come out and argue. It's kind of like arguing balls and strikes. And if they're going to take this long to decide, you have to figure that they're making sure that they get it right.
Cole Hamels has had to take some tosses. Polanco's gone in the dugout.
Well, think about R.A. Dickey also sitting on the bench all this time.
Wow.
And R.A., of course, got a special game going.
Well, to be or not to be.
Oh, while we have a moment, here are your probable pitchers for tomorrow. Brought to you by Mercedes. Pat Mish coming up from the minor leagues to finally get a start this year. Pitched well as a starter late last season. Well in spring training this year. Well for Buffalo this year. And now getting his first start of the season. And, oh, by the way, he's matched up against Roy Halladay. And here they come. What do we got?
Oh, he is not signaling a home run yet.
Oh, suspense.
We got. Oh, wait a second.
Mike Hessman, put your helmet back on.
We have.
Well, maybe he's going to confer with Ed.
Maybe if they're going to say that the cameras didn't, the video didn't work in the video room.
There's obvious disagreement.
Tom Hallion talking with Ed Rapuano.
Someone take charge.
This is my brothers and I used to do when we were kids getting our stories straight.
He's going back to third base.
Wow.
On third base. Well, this is very interesting. Considering, remember, that the call on the field was a home run, they needed to have enough evidence to overturn that. And from what we saw, there was no such evidence. So they're putting Hessman at third base, figuring that because the ball bounced away. Now remember, Ibanez wasn't chasing it because he thought that it had been interfered with. So they're making the definitive judgment that the ball somehow did not go over the fence and that Hessman would have wound up at third base.
And Hessman, the minor league home run hitter, of all things, gets a triple.
Well, I mean, Well, we saw the replay half a dozen times. It certainly appears the umpires got this one wrong.
I'm not so sure that he would have had a trip on this because Victorino was backing up.
Now, wait a second. Did you see that?
Yeah.
See, that's what I thought I saw the first time, that the ball appeared like it might hit the wall. The fan did reach over, but the fan did not reach far enough down to the orange line. He doesn't have arms like an orangutan. Anyway, there's a runner at third and nobody out. And the pitch to Frank Gore is low and inside. You know what I mean? Who can reach that far down to interfere with a ball that would have gone below the orange line?
Halfway in the infield here. They're not conceding this run.
Gore grounded to short his first time up. Ball on a strike. So Hamels, after that long delay for review. It's going to be very interesting to hear from the umpires after the game what they felt they saw that caused them to overrule that home run. And the Mets are hoping it doesn't cost them a run. And Frank Gore chasing a pitch way out of the strike zone.
Well, after he pounded him in with a cutter, tied him up inside, came with a changeup.
Hamels looking for the strikeout. He's already fanned 3 tonight. And he strikes out Frank Gore with a high fastball. It's 0-1 out. And Hessman still at third.
Boy, 2 cutters in, changeup away, and a fastball out of the strike zone. Nice sequence of pitches for Hamels.
Up the ladder.
Pitch that is not used as much as it should be by today's pitcher.
So now the infield stays most of the way in for Henry Blanco with 1 out. Blanco fly deep to center his first time. And he grounds 1 foul. There's your Acela 5th inning recap. That's had a run on the board in the bottom of the 5th. It was taken off the board on umpire review, turning a home run for Mike Hessman into a triple. R.A. Dickey is not allowed to hit over the first 5 innings. The Mets have had just 2 against Hamels. Blanco trying to get that first run home. He waves at the changeup, and it's 0-2.
Ronnie, it looks like he's getting a little sink action on his changeup. I've never seen him get the sink action here. This ball's just dropping out of the strike zone.
You know, one thing that happens for hitters is that all the pressure is on Hamels, but a lot of times hitters come up, especially with a team that's struggling to score, and they get too aggressive with a runner on third.
And Blanco strikes out on 3 pitches, and now they're at 2 out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Hamels after the long delay. He got the benefit of the overrule, and now he's got a chance to keep that run off the board.
2 strikeouts on 7 pitches as he went through Francoeur, and here Blanco.
That's called going to work. Notice how with Francoeur he went fastball in, changeup, then fastball up, and then with Blanco he went in and then 2 straight changeups.
Now they're going to intentionally walk Ruben Tejada and pitch to R.A. Dickey. So you're intentionally walking a kid who's 0 for his last 21 in the majors.
I wouldn't
take on Dickey.
I wouldn't.
I don't think I would either.
I wouldn't, especially since you're coming off Hamels striking out 2 hitters on 7 pitches. He's pumped up. He's got the strike zone.
You don't want Reyes leading off the next inning. I mean, I would go after Tejada.
And also, you know, we've seen Dickey. He's a guy who can put the ball in play.
He's awkward. It's not a good swing, but it's a short stroke, and he just tries to, like you said, Gary, just put the ball in play. See what happens.
So, first and third and 2 out. Dickey hit a comebacker his first time up. He's got a couple of RBIs. He's got 5 hits on the season. The official delay on the replay, 6 minutes and 35 seconds. I think that's the longest one by far that we've ever seen.
It's supposed to take about 2 minutes, right?
And looks like we got it wrong.
I have a question after this pitch. When you look in the paper and you say the game is 2, you see how long the game is? Does that 6 minutes count towards the length of the game?
That's a really good question. I don't know that. I mean, if you have a rain delay, that doesn't count. 1-1 to Dickey.
Boy, he has turned up that changeup as far as the movement and location. He's pitched. Boy.
Tight, 2-1.
You're in a groove. You have to intentionally walk a batter, and that ball that he was throwing right on that inside corner is just missing by 2 or 3 inches. Just enough.
Little tapper back to Hamels. And so after the Mets have a home run taken away by umpire review, they fail to score. After 5, no score. Credit Score Triple Play at freescore.com. 3 scores, 1 source. freescore.com. By Domino's Pizza. Order an inspired Domino's Pizza at domino's.com and track it all the way to your front door with Domino's Tracker. R.A. Dickey back to the mound for the 6th inning, facing Wilson Valdez, who's the only man to reach for the Phillies tonight. He walked with 1 out in the 3rd. And he pops one up in foul ground. And that'll come out of play. Valdez, then Cole Hamels and Jimmy Rollins for the Phillies, who are looking for their first hit against R.A. Dickey. Now, even though the Mets had the home run taken away, they had a runner at third base with nobody out. And unable to get that run in and give Dickey any support.
Not even make any contact from 2 of the hitters. But you know, that's negative on the Mets side. Cole Hamels, that's about as good a pitching as you're going to see in that instance.
Struck him out. Dickey fans Valdez. That's strikeout number 6 for Dickey. 1 out. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Line into right field by Hamels, and that'll fall for the first Philadelphia hit.
How about that?
Well, that's how the no-hit bid ends for Dickey after 5 1/3, the furthest he has ever gone with a no-hit bid. And it's the pitcher Hamels who gets the base hit, his 8th of the year.
Not a bad knuckleball down, though, down over the middle of the plate. Francoeur was thinking of the assist to first base. Dickey's like, well, that's the pitcher's speed. Hasn't someone quoted saying the best way to put a lineup together for a knuckleballer is 9 pitchers?
That's Ralph Kiner. That's what Ralph's always said. There's Jimmy Rollins, who's 0 for 2, and he takes ball 1. Well, the last no-hitter by a knuckleballer was Phil Niekro in 1973.
Against the San Diego Padres.
Is that right?
You didn't know I knew that.
I didn't know that.
Still the last.
You know what the second to last one was?
No.
It's played Wilhelm in 1958 for the Orioles against the Yankees. A rare start for Wilhelm. You know when the last no-hitter by a Met was?
What do you think?
You keep thinking.
They once had one in spring training.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Ground ball might be 2 if they hurry. Tejada does the right thing, runs at Hamels. They call him safe at first, but Hamels is out. Hamels trying to avoid the tag, and he's out, but Rollins beats the rap at first base.
Well, as a pitcher, you don't want to ever stop. You can't do that. You're out of the baseline. Oh, boy, that was close.
Out.
Let's see. He beat it. Yep. Tight base goes to the runner.
Real close.
Could have gone either way.
Rollins, 10 stolen bases, hasn't been caught this season.
In fact, he's gone 25 consecutive attempts going back to last year without being caught.
The only problem with that play is that with Tejada reaching for Hamels, who was out of the baseline, it just delayed it enough that he didn't get Rollins on first. Now you have the threat of a stolen base.
Now let me ask you this. If he had forced Hamels to stop, thrown to first, he probably would have had Hamels in a rundown.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's your play. That's the play to make, Gary. The play for the runner is to knock the second baseman to the next county.
That doesn't happen anymore.
So I broke my kneecap.
We promote that all the time, but when's the last time you actually saw that happen? Not since Albert Bell decked Fernando Vina. Hamels has already taken 1 hit in this game. He wasn't looking for another. Blanco has struck out each of his 2 at-bats. And Rollins diving back.
That's the thing that R.A. Dickey does different than most knuckleballers. He has the ability to hold runners close. He has a little slide step, throws strikes.
Closer. He looks like he wanted to go.
That's one thing about Jimmy Rollins. He's a student of the game. He knows that the way the offenses are going, he has to steal a base here.
7 steals against Dickey in 9 tries this year. Blanco has a cannon beyond the plate. And he got him leaning the wrong way and almost got him.
He wants to run.
Well, Jimmy Rollins is telling the first base umpire that Dickey's got that little balk move. What he does is he kind of just bends that front knee and then throws over to first base. The tag there right in the elbow.
Big lead.
And the knuckleball hit the center field, and Beltran is there. Side retired. So Dickey gives up his first hit of the night and keeps it scoreless. Top of the order coming up for New York.
you the 3B right there in the middle that was an HR and became a 3B for Mike Heston. It's the difference between the Mets leading and having a scoreless game going to the bottom of the 6th. You know, while we were away, we took a look at the replay one more time, and we'll show it to you in just a moment. But what the umpires clearly believed watching the replay was that a fan reached out and that he touched the ball. Yes. That it didn't hit the railing, that it hit the fan. But it's far enough above the orange line that I don't understand how the umpires came to the conclusion that had the fan not touched the ball, that it wouldn't have been a home run. Reyes is 0 for 2, and he fouls it back.
The only way that could not be a home run is if you drop that ball from the top deck and it came straight down. It's got to have some angle on it.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not falling straight down. It's coming down at an angle. And when he touched the ball, that's a good, 3 feet above the orange line? There's no way that ball was going to hit below the orange line. Reyes lifts it to center, and Victorino squeezed it one out.
Well, our director, Danny Reagan, had the quote of the night in between innings there. He said the Mets are struggling so much offensively that they're the only team that can lead off with a home run and not score. Oh, cold.
Well, if this game ends up a one-run game with the Mets not winning, this will certainly be a huge issue to discuss afterward. Would love to try and make that moot. Angel Pagan had an infield single in the first and then lined out to center field in the fourth, 1 for 2. Oh, great changeup by Hamels to start off.
This is the best I've seen Hamels throw in a long time. His cutter has just really made him so much more effective against the right-handers.
Just saw him last weekend, go 7 innings, strike out 11. Pagan lifts one to left field. This one's playable for Ibanez. 2 out. Look how low his pitch count is. He's going to be around for a while. So now David Wright, who last time up hit the ball as hard as he's hit it in a week. He hit it right off the inside of Hamels' thigh. Hamels was able to recover and throw him out and then shake it off and stay on the game. David now 0 for his last 15. Guys, as though during this cold spell that David has been swinging at the first pitch virtually every at bat.
You know, we saw this earlier, Gary, when he was going through his troubles with striking out a lot earlier in the season. He became very aggressive, trying to put the ball in play early, not to get to a 2-strike count.
Drives this one to center field. Victorino has it go over his head. Wright heads to second, and he's in with a 2-out double. A bullet by Wright. And those hard-hit line drives right at the center fielder sometimes can be trouble. And this one ate up Victorino.
Well, Victorino likes to play shallow. There's that changeup run? Fastball down and away. Up the middle. Victorino just kind of misplayed it. I don't think he had a shot for it anyway. That ball was ripped.
Those balls hit on the nose like that just have such great carry. They never come down.
So Wright snaps the 0 for 15. That's 2 straight times he's hit the ball right on the nose. Now Beltran. And he takes it down for ball 1. Carlos is flying to center and struck out 0 for 2 after his 3 for 3 day yesterday. That's an 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position tonight. Looking to break the scoreless tie here in the 6th.
Beltran drives one to deep left center field. Back goes Ibanez to the track, at the wall. It's off the fence, in play. Wright scores the first run of the game. Beltran into second base with an RBI double. And the Mets have the ice-breaking run. It's 1-0 New York. back-to-back two-out doubles by the previously cold Wright and Beltran.
Well, I think the cutter left out over the plate. Straight fastball meant to be away and right down the middle. And Ibanez almost, he gets to the wall quicker, he can make that play. But Ibanez not known for his defense here, and Wright's just going to, David's going to trot home. 2 outs, you're on the run anyway, but
I think he thought that was going to be a home run. One look behind him, and he was startled to see that the ball was in play.
You know, what's interesting about that is Beltran might have got a pitch to hit because Hessman had what we call a ground rule triple the at bat before.
You can't take for granted in this ballpark that's going to be a home run, going to be an automatic in this park.
Hessman takes it inside. Well, Mike looked like he had gotten the first run on the board in the last inning with his leadoff home run turned triple.
Beltran after the 3-hit day yesterday and now a hit tonight, so it looks like he's starting to find maybe get his groove.
By the way, Hessman's triple was the first of his major league career. He can be pretty certain he'll never forget it.
Now those 2-out RBI knocks, Keith, they are a killer for the pitcher. R.A. Dickey now has a slim lead.
This one they're not going to take away. Changeup misses low and away, and all of a sudden it's 3-1 to Hessman with Jeff Francoeur on deck. So after Hamels gave up the leadoff triple and then pitched his way to a scoreless inning in the 5th, trouble finds him suddenly in the 6th after 2 are out. But I think the most encouraging thing that we've seen tonight is the last 2 at-bats from David Wright.
Well, he certainly swung the bat well, and, you know, the 4 strikeout day he had against the left-hander. We know he kills lefties. It's good to see him, a quality left-hander. Hit 2 ropes. And that's needed 3 and 4 hitters to get hot.
Hessman checks his swing, takes it high for ball 4, and the inning continues for Francoeur.
Nice at bat there for Hessman.
Second walk given up by Hamels, the first unintentional walk in his last 3 starts. Now Francoeur, who hit the home run against Hamels in Philadelphia last weekend. 0 for 2 tonight, a ground out and a strikeout. Grounds one out to shortstop, and Rollins gets the 4th play to end the inning. But
Back-to-back two-out doubles by David Wright and Carlos Beltran get the Mets on the board. Wright fooled Victorino. Beltran got it past Ibanez. 1-0 New York.
Dickey continuing a trend of spectacular pitching by Mets starters on this homestand. Mike Pelfrey threw shutout ball. So did Johan Santana. Valdez gave him 1 run in 7 innings.
In his last inning of work in the 7th.
On a sacrifice fly, and Dickey has responded with 6 scoreless innings of his own. The Phillies still have not scored a run at Citi Field this season. When they were here in late May, the Mets shut them out 3 straight games. So they've gone 33 innings in this ballpark without a run. Ibanez pops one up in foul ground. Right with a long run to get there. 1 out. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. The 7 top 100 strikeout pitchers who are currently active.
Santana, Oswald. Oswald's not there. Wow.
Vasquez, how about Jamie
Moore? Well, yeah, long career.
Long time.
Vasquez.
He's sort of back.
Wakefield. Forget how big of a strikeout artist he is, and Wakefield's been here forever.
Longevity counts.
Wakefield passed Clemens and starts for the Red Sox this year.
Mike Sweeney is 0 for 2, robbed of a hit by Jose Reyes back in the 2nd, and then grounded out to 3rd in the 4th. Reyes made 2 fine diving plays in the first 2 innings, 1 on Rollins, 1 on Sweeney. The only hit for the Phillies came from the pitcher Cole Hamels. Otherwise, Dickey has been fairly dominant.
What a difference that 5 days makes.
Fewer fastballs, slower knuckleballs, and a bigger ballpark. Good formula for success.
Dickey likes to work fast. Surprised that more hitters don't try to slow his pace down.
Sweeney trying to get to the postseason for the first time in his career. All-time Kansas City Royal. Recently bouncing around the American League. And a foul tip held by Blanco. 7 strikeouts for R.A. Dickey, just 1 shy of his career high.
Well, this knuckleball Keith from Meshiop, won't it?
Watch it drop. Right over the top of it.
It's another guy who has no stride in his swing.
A lot of people smacking themselves in the head tonight. What the ball will do to you. It's Jason Worth. And he grounds one toward the hole. Reyes on the backhand. And he throws out Worth. An easy 1-2-3 inning for R.A. Dickey. Got him on 8 pitches. 7th inning stretch, 1-0 Mets. Stadium with sideline interviews and special Jets Ring of Honor guests as Gang Green takes on the Giants in their new home on Jets Nation. Game day live Monday at 6:30 p.m. only on SNY. And Blanco leads off the home 7th inning. Andrews fly deep to center and struck out 0-2. And Cole Hamels starts him off with another changeup. Blanco, then Tejada and Dickey for the Mets in the home 7th. Well, the Mets beat Cole Hamels 1-0 just 6 days ago as he hooked up against Santana and gave up just a home run to Frank Gore. Now he's in another 1-0 game and again on the short end.
It's interesting how he got hurt on 2 pitches out over the plate, and where he's been successful has been pounding in with that cutter to right-hand hitters. Both pitches to Wright and Beltran out over the plate.
Blanco rips one and it gets by Polanco and hops into the stands. That's a ground rule double for Henry Blanco. So the Mets' 3rd double in the last 5 batters, and Blanco ripped it too hard for Polanco to handle.
This ball eats him up. Totally in between hops. So tough.
Hits him on the back of the wrist. And the everyday Blanco, Hank always seems to mix in his hit.
So now Ruben Tejada, who was intentionally walked in the 5th inning with a runner at 3rd and 2 out. And it seems innocuous at the time because Hamels then got Dickey on a comebacker to end that inning. But if they hadn't intentionally walked him, and Tejada had made the last out, then it's possible that Wright and Beltran would not have come to bat in the 6th inning. Anyhow, turning over the lineup can sometimes beat you when you don't expect it, in ways you don't expect.
Hamels going right after Tejada here, and you saw the corner infielders were playing in. They'll move back now with 2 strikes. With a very shallow outfield. Not Ibanez in left field, but look at Victorino and Worth in center and right. Surprised that Victorino's not a little more shaded to the opposite field.
0-2 to Ruben, and he bounces one foul. We have a very slow runner at second base in Blanco.
Yeah, base hit to center or right that will not score Blanco. Well, but any of the outfield positions, but the left field, of course, the shorter throw.
Question for you, Ron. When you had a tight ball game and a hitter up there, runner on second, trying to hit the ball the other way to advance the runner, right-hand hitter or a left-hand, what was your pitch to make it most difficult for them to hit the ball and get them to advance the runner?
Right-handed hitter, you have to rush them in with fastballs or curveball, breaking ball, because they tend to pull that pitch. If you had a left-hander up, you try to stay away from your soft stuff, because that's the thing that they roll over on the second base, which is how you want to get them out when no one's on base, but certainly not when the guy on second.
Let me ask you this, though. With Dickey on deck, are you asking Tejada just to try and get the runner over?
No, base hit. Yeah, absolute base hit. But, down 0-2 and facing one of the better pitchers in the National League, it wouldn't be the worst thing if you got him over there, because maybe the rare suicide squeeze will be put on.
Hard to do with Blanco. Foul tip, held, strike 3.
Moves.
Tejada is struck out for the 2nd time. That's 6 for Hamels tonight.
Nothing fancy here.
Fastball.
That's 3 or 4 that both catchers have held on to get the strikeouts for their pitcher.
Now Dickey, who's hit 2 comebackers to Hamels tonight. And he grounds one down to 3rd. Blanco checks Blanco. And throws out Dickey for the 2nd out. So it'll be left to Reyes with 2 out to try and get Blanco around after a leadoff double. Reyes tonight is 0 for 3. He's hit the ball in the air 3 times. Fouled out to the catcher. Fly to right, fly to center.
Made some outstanding defensive plays, though, early in this ballgame.
It's 5 hits. The Phillies have 1-1. Hamels has thrown 90 pitches with 2 out of the 7. Reyes takes the fastball off the plate, ball 1. Cole Hamels has never won against the Mets in New York. 6 starts, 0-3. Let's see what he's done lately. Just hasn't had many wins to show for it. 0-3, 4.98 were his numbers in New York, combined at Shea and at Citi Field coming into this start.
Jose might see a little 2-0 change up here with first base open.
Tell you what, I wouldn't be pitching around Jose here. You got the Mets' best clutch hitter standing on deck.
Agreed, and he did go after him, but he missed with both pitches. And once you get to 2-0, you don't want to lay a pitch into Reyes. You're hoping that his aggressiveness gets himself out.
It's a strike, 3-1.
Got Pregame disparity in batting averages at 255 against left-handers. That might be factored in Hamels' thinking here.
Is much better against lefties, hitting 312 against left-handers. Reaches for one and pokes it just foul. Fingernails dry. Swing and a miss. He got him with a changeup. Cole Hamels, strikeout number 7. Mets get the leadoff double from Blanco, and he never moves. 7 in the books. 1-0 New York. Dickey's allowed just 1 hit over the first 7 innings. That 1 hit was Cole Hamels' 6th inning single. Shane Victorino leads off the 8th in a 1-0 game. In his first start since coming off the disabled list, Victorino's 0 for 2, grounded to first and struck out.
Pretty tough call right there to come off the DL. First guy you face, a knuckleballer. I mean, skip. Break.
Victorino also misplayed David Wright's double that wound up costing the Phillies the only run of this game when Wright came around on Beltran's double. Dickey gets a borderline call, 2-1. Ryan Madsen up in the Phillies bullpen with Hamels due to bat 4th here in the 8th inning. If he doesn't bat, you'd have to think he's going to go out there for the bottom of the 8th at just 97 pitches. Victorino pops one up into shallow right center. And on comes Beltran to call. One away. There's your free score out of town scoreboard. Tim Hudson and Hiroki Kuroda matching zeros in Atlanta. They're at the bottom of the 5th.
You know, Hudson's not going to get a lot of consideration because there's some great years he's having. A great year.
So 1 out. Here's Brian Schneider, who's 0 for 2. The Phillies have had just 2 base runners in this game. Wilson Valdez, the number 8 hitter, walked in the 3rd, and Cole Hamels, the number 9 hitter, singled in the 6th. Top 7 guys in the batting order. Zilch 0 for 20 from 1 through 7. Hold, just foul. Snyder's fly to left and hit a comebacker. Hamels waiting around to see if he gets another in, depending on what transpires with the next 2 batters.
Pacing. Please get me a run.
Schneider hits one out to center. Beltran is there. And so Dickey quickly gets 2 outs in the 8th. Let's check in with the studio. Chris Carlin is there with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. All right, Chris. Meanwhile, here, Greg Dobbs is going to bat for Wilson Valdez, looking for one big swing against R.A. Dickey. Dobbs has had a tough year, to say the least. 4 for 40 as a pinch hitter. 4 for 40. The guy who at one time was the best pinch hitter in the league. He does have 1 pinch hit home run among his 4 home runs, and that's what Charlie Manuel was hoping for here. Dobbs lifts one to left field. Easy for Angel Pagan. 3 fly balls, 3 outs for R.A. Dickey in the top of the 8th. Dickey's allowed just 1 hit through 8. Nets will try and get some insurance in the bottom. More on the K-Rod story. Giants and Jets then set to play Monday night. And Donovan McNabb's debut with his new team, all on Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame at 1 a.m. right here on SNY. Greg Dobbs, who pinch hit, stays in the game at 3rd base. Placido Polanco moves over to 2nd as Angel Pagan leads off the home 8th against Cole Hamels. Angel Angel has one of the Mets' 5 hits tonight. An infield single back in the first. Stole a couple of bases. With a questionable base running decision. Failed to score on a ground ball by David Wright. Mets scored their only run of the game in the 6th on back-to-back 2-out doubles by Wright and Beltran. Jimmy Rollins in front of it. And he guns down Pregame by a running stride, 1 away.
Good play by Jimmy. That was kind of a tough hop, kind of cradled it. And the thing about Jimmy Rollins is that he doesn't always show it, but he's got a pretty strong arm when he needs it.
Glove winner. I love that call, Garrett. Out by a running stride. That's a perfect call. That's a Murph call. I stole it.
Oh, nice.
Here's David Wright, who scored the only run of this game after doubling in the 6th inning. And Hamels comes inside 1-0. Well, Hamels has got to be wondering what he has to do to get any kind of run support. Shut out 1-0 in his last start. Down 1-0 again. Down to third base. Dobbs handles the hop. And the low throw handled by Sweeney for the second out.
Well, I mean, I've been there before, Gary, and what you have to do is, one, to keep your big trap shut. I mean, no one on that bench is not trying to score a run for you. And in fact, sometimes it works against you because the hitters know that you're the tough luck pitcher, and sometimes they're even trying harder to try to score a run for you.
Exactly.
So you don't say anything, you just do your job, and you hope the worm turns.
And Beltran is driven in the only run tonight with a double in the 6th.
You go with the hopes that you know it's going to even out. You know, this can't go on forever. And if it's one of those years, it's one of those years. Maybe I'm going to get lucky next year.
Popped up in foul ground. Sweeney hustling over, but well beyond his reach. I mean, Cole Hamels watched his team last night at home, scored 8 runs in the last 2 innings to come from 7 runs down and beat the Dodgers. And he's got to be thinking, yeah, some of that.
I know for starting pitchers, you talk about, I got to get off this day. This every 5th day is not working. I need another day. Give me a day off or something.
1-1 to Carlos. And he pops one up again in foul ground. And Sweeney with another sprint to the railing. And again, off the dugout roof. Keep going over there until he gets it right.
He's no Ike.
Nobody's like Ike flipping on that railing. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, R.A. Dickey will be taking on a pinch hitter, then Rollins and Polanco. Beltran got a piece of that one. Got the home plate umpire, Ed Rapuano.
By the edge of the left hook there, went down. Boy, that hurts. Was off the kneecap. If it was.
Cole Hamels is saying, Ed, I took a shot like that.
Hallion coming over to make sure Ed's okay.
I thought it got him on the knee, went through the hitters. Oh, no, right in the foot. The left foot.
Good call, Ron. Oh, inner ankle, too.
We do have those shin guards, but doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. So Rapuano hangs in there. 1-2 to Beltran. Swing and a miss. He got him with a changeup. 8 strikeouts for Cole Hamels. But unless the Phillies can get a run off R.A. Dickey, it'll be a complete game loss for Hamels. historic Dominic Brown pinch hitting against R.A. Dickey, batting for Cole Hamels. And he swings with the knuckleball, 0-1. The Phillies have had 2 base runners all night. A walk to Wilson Valdez in the 3rd and a single to right by Cole Hamels in the 6th. Line to short. Short hop by Reyes. 1 out. There have been 34 one-hitters in Mets history. 26 complete game one-hitters, including the John Deese gem earlier this year. Mets trying to win back-to-back games and, for that matter, back-to-back shutout victories. Have not done that since the 22nd and 23rd of June. Here's Rollins. He's 0 for 3.
Done a much better job, Ronnie, this start, mixing up, changing his speed with knuckleball.
That's right.
Ground ball down to Hessman. And there are 2 out. R.A. Dickey making it look easy. This is remarkable. R.A. Dickey has only 1 complete game in his major league career. It came August the 20th, 2003 for Texas, a 6-0 win at Detroit. He's 1 out away from a complete game, a 1-hit shutout.
And this is also a great redeemer for him against his Phils.
Polanco is 0 for 3. And he takes the knuckleball for a strike.
He's really alternated those curveballs, Keith. Those knuckleballs, Keith. You're so right. The slow one and then the hard one. If he gets ahead and you strike out, he will throw the hard one.
And out to right field. Frank Core is there, and the ball game is over. R.A. Dickey has thrown a complete game, 1 hit, 1-0 shutout. A masterful performance by the 35-year-old knuckleballer. He faced just 2 over the minimum. Carlos Beltran drove in the only run. And the Mets have shut out the Phillies for the 4th straight time here at Citi Field.
Back-to-back shutouts for the Mets on 2 successive days with Santana. And now R.A. Dickey making it look against this lineup for the Phillies. They scored 8 runs in the last 2 innings last night against the Dodgers. That's about as easy a 1-hit shutout as I've ever seen.
And on the offensive end, on the Mets side of the slate, on the 1-run 6th inning, the only run in the ball game was a 2-out rally, and the only 2 mistakes Cole Hamels made in the ball game. 2 balls out over the plate. David Wright, line drive misplayed by Victorino. Tough play though, into a double, and then Beltran followed the double off the left center field wall, and there's your ball game.
105 masterful pitches for R.A. Dickey. The only hit was by the opposing pitcher Cole Hamels, a single to right field with 1 out in the 6th inning. Hamels was great in his own right, but for the 2nd straight weekend against the Mets, he loses 1-0. Last Saturday to Santana, and tonight to R.A. Dickey, who throws the 34th one-hitter, the 35th one-hitter, and the 27th complete game one-hitter in Mets history, their 2nd this season.
Oh, and again, was going to be a much bigger play than it was. They gave Hessman a ground rule triple. They could not push that run across, but the very next inning with 2 outs, Wright and Beltran came up big with back-to-back doubles, and the Mets got the only run they would need.
So R.A. Dickey throws a gem tonight at Citi Field, and Kevin Burkhardt is standing by with him in front of the Mets dugout.
All right, that was awful fun to watch. Is that the best you've ever felt pitching a baseball game?
Yeah, that was a pretty fun night. It felt good out of my hand all night long. I really didn't fight my body at all. It was just I'm glad the night was about that and not a phantom home run, or that we didn't get in a guy from third. It was
Angel kind of misfired on that one. You got lucky a little bit. You know, you talked about you're glad the night was about the pitching. But, I mean, this was, you just faced this team in Philadelphia and had really your only bad start of the year. So to come back against this same team the next start and do this, how did you do it?
Yeah, this is a good ball club over here. You know, they're not competing for the division title for nothing. They got a lot of guys. But we're competing too. Every time out, you know, we're going to fight everybody tooth and nail, and that's all I tried to do tonight.
You know, a lot of times you ask pitchers, you know, did you feel like you had no-hit stuff? Well, Cole Hamels is the only one to get a hit against you. When you have the knuckleball going like tonight, did you feel like you had no-hit stuff?
I wouldn't go that far. I felt like I had a good knuckleball, you know, one of the best knuckleballs I've had all season, and I'm just trying to stay consistent from batter to batter. And, you know, Cole Hamels is a good hitting pitcher, and so sometimes you just got to tip your cap and go on to the next hitter.
You know, does this team have a big run left in them to get back in this race all right?
Yeah, I think absolutely. We keep pitching hard and keep playing hard. I think we're going to give these guys a good show.
Another shutout for the New York Mets. Congratulations. All right.
You're welcome.
All right, Dickey, the one-hit gem. Guys, back to you.
The Mets' 18th shutout victory this season. They're 15th at Citi Field, and for the first time in 44 games, they've got back-to-back victories. R.A. Dickey doing it all. A one-hit complete game shutout and a 1-0 Met win. Back to Citi Field in a moment.